Hi guys, now more than ever, those of you who are looking for work want to speed up your job search and make sure that you get hired faster. Today in this video, let's talk about the 3 biggest and most common myths that actually stop you from doing that, but unfortunately are commonly referred to as really good career advice. When you're trying to look for a better job or aiming for something that will really make you happy, a lot of people will tell you to wait for a better time to start looking for the work you really want. Truth is, that advice will get you nowhere because there will never be the perfect moment when all the stars will align and you will have absolutely perfect conditions to get the job that you really want. Whenever you're thinking, okay, I'll just wait for this recession to be over and I'll start then some kind of an epidemic or virus comes in and the whole world changes in a matter of weeks. Or a lot of you think, I should just try to get more experience and then I'll be able to look for what I really want. And then when you get more experience, it becomes only harder for you to transition to a different career or a different industry. So the truth is, you need to get used to acting under imperfect conditions because that's how it will always be. There will never be a perfect moment, there will never be the ideal situation for you, but it doesn't mean that you cannot set up an action plan and start taking some real steps. And it doesn't mean that you need to risk everything and start, drastically changing your life in a matter of days. But at the same time, you can start little by little moving forward towards the goal that you really, really want. And it's always a good idea to ask other people for some advice and recommendations, but you got to remember that nobody, absolutely nobody, will ever be able to tell you what is going to happen exactly once you do X or Y. So at the end of the day, you have to start making some decisions, and there's nothing wrong with testing things out, even though you don't know whether that's the exact right thing to do. At least when you start trying, that's when you'll start learning, and that will be some progress already. Number 2, a lot of people will tell you get as much advice and as much information as you can because then you can make an informed decision. Although it does really sound like good advice, but these days there is so much information online that if you want to somehow filter through all that noise, you have to make sure that you start narrowing down your focus. I don't know about you, but during quarantine, I've been overwhelmed with the amount of information, webinars, resources, and all of that stuff that is just coming up every single day online. So I imagine that if this is something new to you, so if you're trying to research a new topic or figure out how to navigate your next steps in your work life, in your career, it is really hard to filter through all of that clutter. And also, a lot of the advice that you find online these days, it conflicts with other pieces of advice and other tips that you find from other people. So it's really hard to filter through all of that stuff, and that can only confuse you in terms of your next steps and what you really want to do. So what I recommend is for you to find 5 to 10 people that you really trust. Find them online, research what they do, how they got to the point where they are today, and just follow their resources, their information, and whatever else they are sharing, because that way you just pick those people and you follow their recommendations, and you realize that that's the kind of advice that resonates with you, that convinces you, and that is the first indication that that might be the exact right thing to do. So instead of increasing that amount of information when you already know that you're overwhelmed with all of the advice that you're hearing or seeing online, I say narrow down the list of your resources and just follow those quality, trusted tips that will actually get you going and get you to start making some progress. And more importantly, what will really help is if you can find a support group online. So people that are maybe in the same boat as you are or are in a similar situation, and then you guys can be there for one another and you can hold one another accountable. So that way you can actually make sure that you don't just listen or read to all of that useful information and think, oh yeah, that's great, but you actually start taking some step. Another very popular piece of advice is just master your craft, so be really good at what you do and everything else will just magically fall into place. Unfortunately, that's so not true. Your market value consists of 2 components. One is your performance or your professionalism, so basically how good you are at what you do. But the other component, which is just as important, is your visibility. So think about it as a formula. Your market value equals your professionalism plus your visibility. And if you forget about one of those two components, you'll slow yourself down and you will actually get further away from your career goals. So what does visibility mean in practice? It means how you're able to communicate with other people and how you can get your value across to them. So anytime you're communicating with your friends, your colleagues, people at work, you are essentially creating content. So if you think about it, we are all content creators and we are all marketers in a way. Anytime you send an email, you write a resume, you do a presentation, you pitch an idea to your boss, you pitch the idea of hiring you to a new company, you are communicating and you are marketing. So if you want to be successful at presenting yourself and at convincing other people to follow you or to use your ideas and your expertise, you need to think like a marketer and get better at creating that kind of content. So understand the way communication works, how you can engage other people, how you can get them onto your side of things and get them to see your perspective. That skill is one of the most important skills that will get you to progress throughout your professional life and make sure that whatever your next goal is, find work, get promoted, negotiate a higher salary, whatever it is, you'll get there because you know how to communicate to other people and how to create a strong personal brand around yourself. And when you're able to look at yourself from the marketing or branding perspective and work on strengthening your personal brand, not only will you be perceived as an expert at what you do, but you will also get a lot more of inbound opportunities. So for example, you might be employed, you might be, busy at work doing all of your regular stuff that you do every single day, and then you'll be surprised how people are finding you and reaching out to you because they want to partner with you, they want to hire you, they want to offer opportunities to you. So that way you're kind of passively always checking your market value, exploring new options, or at least not limiting yourself just to the existing circle of things that you've been in for quite some time. Guys, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments under this video what was one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received around your career or job search. Let's share in the comments, learn from one another, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again next time.